No sleep. My son asked me to check the closet for monsters. I didn't need to. I recently went through a pretty nasty divorce, but I got the only thing that mattered out of it: full custody of my 4-year-old son. Lost nearly everything else in the process, so we had to relocate to a new house with barely any luggage or furniture. Truly a fresh new start. I heard him call for me during our first night at our new home. It was a little after midnight, I think. I went to check on him to see what was wrong, and sat by his bedside. He was wide awake and asked me to check the closet for monsters, which wasn't surprising given the circumstances. He's still just a little kid, and without even taking into account all the crap he's been put through thanks to my shitty marriage, moving into an unfamiliar, barely furnished home must be a lot to take in for someone his age. And you know how they say that your brain always stays half awake when you're sleeping in a new environment, right? That's all pretty much what went through my mind in a flash. As soon as my son spoke, it was no big deal. It was all normal, I thought. But something else almost immediately clicked inside my brain before I even got to look at where my son had pointed to while he made his innocent request. Something was wrong. I turned my head and looked, and it took everything I had in me to not give in to fear and terror, all for the sake of my son. When you become a parent, you have to protect your children no matter what, always putting yourself in harm's way if necessary and spare them any and all kinds of things that might hurt them. That's why I didn't freak out. I couldn't, not when we had barely just started our new life. I had to protect him, and at that point in time as I sat on his bed I only knew one thing. We had to leave the room. We had to leave the house immediately. Alright champ, of course I said, faking bravery. Then I made a request of my own as I lowered my voice and got closer to him. Hey, how about you step outside for a minute? If there's a monster in there, I'll have to kick its butt all over your room. He chuckled and said okay. I made sure to put some extra emphasis on the word, but because it's something that always cracks him up when I say it. Fortunately he got stuck on that, and not the fact that I was indirectly admitting to the possibility of there actually being a monster. As soon as he left the room my mind raced as it started to put together the best and most efficient route to take him out of the house while picking my car keys and phone on our way out. When I heard the closet door slowly creaking open behind me, I knew it was time to go. I jumped out of the bed, exited the room, and grabbed my son. We were out of the door and inside the car and moving in under a minute. I told him I couldn't sleep, so we were going out for some ice cream to celebrate. He was a little taken aback and asked celebrate what, to which I replied just us two together. I love you buddy. It was by no means a lie, but I just had to make sure that he was alright and wouldn't think of anything else as we literally fled our new home. As I mentioned earlier, the house was a new environment for the two of us. I'd been there a couple of times before, cleaned it all up by myself, and assembled what little furniture we had, so I knew for a fact what belonged where and what didn't. And I know his room didn't have a closet,